So let's get started today. So what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be looking at plan to succeed with contacts. My name is Simon, and I have John as our panelist for today. In this webinar, we're going to be exploring plan to succeed. In today's webinar, we'll be exploring integrating tasks to your email provider, such as Outlook and Gmail, explore how to add or manage tasks, create and apply an activity schedule, and modify an activity schedule. So what is task planning? Task planning or time management allows users to create reminders to follow up on an event or an activity. An example could include follow-up actions after you've conducted an appraisal. Reminders could be a single task, a series of tasks, or an event such as a meeting. The importance of task planning is that it allows you to set reminders to follow up on an event or an activity, such as actions after that said appraisal. You can assign it to the correct person to conduct the activity in a timely manner and create a standardization within your agency. Now, if you look at the chat, you'll find that you'll find a poll that has been launched. I- In this poll, it's going to ask, do you have a task planning strategy for your agency? I'll give you about 30 seconds to complete it. Interesting results. I can see that almost 40% of you do not actually task plan at all. And coming in close, 30, close second, which is about 30%, some of you actually use the Reaper sales for yourself and others, which is great to see. All right, so hopefully we can show you some advantages of how it works within Agent Box or Reaper sales. So why would you use Reaper sales for your task planning? Well, you can appoint tasks to the right staff member, allow you to include the property and contact details, can plan several steps ahead in an event in one attachment, which is going to be task scheduling, and one system to follow up on your workflows. So let's get started. First thing we're going to look at is integrating your tasks to your mail provider. To do that, how you start is you go to your name on the top right hand corner of the Reaper Sales application, and then you'll click on My Profile. A pop-up window will appear, which is going to be your staff card. And on the staff card, you go to the furthest most right tab, which is called Connections. And then you can use the drop down of connections to pick which one is your desired email provider, such as Google or Microsoft 365 or your Outlook Office 365. Once you've done the connecting prompts, you will get a green box that will say that you've connected. And you'll also have just down below certain applications that you can integrate with Office 365, namely such as tasks. You can have a two-way sync, one-way sync, or one-way sync plus to integrate what is actually coming from Agent Box and going into your Outlook. So you can look at all your schedules in a different location if required. So what I'm going to do now is let's demonstrate some things we can do in terms of adding tasks, as well as task schedules using repeat sales. To begin with, what we're going to do is we're going to add a single task just to get a foundation. There's a couple of ways we can do this. One way we can do it is we go to the plus sign next to the date or below your name, and then you can go to add task. Another method you can do is you can go to one of your listings, search for the appropriate listing, and we can go to the circle with a tick. With the circle and the tick, it's actually a task, and we're going to create a single task to begin with, and we can put in the date and the time. Now, in my circumstance, I do not have to put the property details since I'm already in the property itself. So what I'm going to put as a headline is a buyer inquiry and a description of what they're inquiring about. What we can also do is we can assign it to the relevant agent, and we can also search or we can add the appropriate contact that is inquiring. So in this case, I'll use Frank Hobbs. If they're not in the database, we can add the new contact. I'll add them. And if we're an admin and we've got an actual action that we require them to do, we can go to the drop down and select. So for example, I can say that we require them to make a phone call. And we can save this individual task. The benefit of this as well is if I close, and if I go back to my dashboard, I'll be able to see as an agent, either on my mobile app or on the desktop that we're in today. If I refresh the pipeline, I'll see that there's an additional inquiry, that is additional task for me as an agent to complete. Now, if I've completed this task for Frank Hobbs, I can click on the buyer inquiry, the header, and I can mark it as task completed. And I can save and close as a completed task. Now, if I refresh my pipeline or my reminders panel again, it will then disappear. The next thing we're going to be doing is we looked at how to add and manage or complete an individual task, but how do we manage all our tasks that are actually in our system? Now, using the recurring theme, I'm going to go to the bottom of the screen on the main menu and go to the circle of the tick. And from here, I have the flexibility of seeing all of the tasks that are actually due today or also that is overdue. I also have the versatility of going at the top, looking at some of these filters, such as I want to look at all the outstanding tasks that are in my system. And depending on your permission, you can actually look at your own tasks or other agents or all tasks within the system. So what I can see here is I've got a couple of tasks that are overdue, and I've got a couple that I've for today. Now, if I've actually completed a task, I can just go to the circle with the tick and say that the task is complete. However, if I've called a particular person and they're not available and I need to call them back later, I can set a reminder for myself so I do not lose anything in the system to actually snooze the task, which is the alarm clock icon. I will postpone this task, and if they need a call back in a couple of days, I'll put it for Friday at 2 p.m. And now that task has actually been set for a couple of days so I do not forget my task and keep that high level customer service. Another one we can look at is I've got one here for William Scott and I've got Canvas Avenue. Now, with the repeat sales reminders or task or time management, what we can do is we can reassign this to another agent, as this is not my listing. To do that, I can go to the double heads, reassign the task. I'll assign it to Alex. I no longer want to be assigned that, so I'll unassign myself and set that task. So that will now go into Alex's queue and is removed from myself. Additionally, I've looked at how to complete a task, but if I have completed the incorrect task for today, and I need it as a reminder for future reference, I can go to the completed task tab at the top and see what I've already marked as complete. Now, the one I've done today, Mark Hobbs, I did not complete. What I can do is I can go to the circle of the tick and reactivate the task. And that will disappear from my completed tab. And then we'll go back to my outstanding tab, which I've got here today. So that's how we can manage our individual tasks and keep on top of what is required of us as an agent. You'll see that some of them have an actual note of making a phone call and some do not. That is primarily if an admin staff member is assigning what type of uh, duty is required for that particular task. It is not required, but it is helpful for the agents to know how to action what has been assigned to them. Now, this is just looking at one task. What we can do is we can go up, and if we've got a series of tasks that we need to complete and in a sequential order, we can create a task schedule. Now, depending on your permission, you'll have the ability to hit this plus sign on the right-hand side of the screen, and we can view, edit activity schedules. From here, we've got our pre-populated activity schedules that we provide for you. But if we need to actually create our own activity schedules that are against the grain for our individual purpose, we can go add activity schedule. And in this circumstance, I'm going to create one called settlement. Okay. I actually call it Simon settlements. Okay. And I'm going to make it visible to myself, although it is recommended that you have the whole office or all agents be able to see this. From here, I can add individual tasks of what is required for the settlement process for myself. So I just go add task and I can put in how many days I want it. So I can do it at 0 days after the settlement's incurred. I can pick my time and I can put in the header of what it's going to be. So I'll send um, and I'll assign it to who is responsible, which is going to be the listing agent. And this is where we've got those blue boxes at below of what we want them to do. So in this case, I want them to send an SMS for standardization for our office and add that in. I'll save that, and that's our first task. Now, if we've got another one that we can do, I'll just go a bit quicker on this one, is we're going to add a task of sending a gift hamper. And we'll do that 2 weeks after we initiate the activity schedule. And in this case, I've got it here, send gift hamper, and it will be up to the listing agent to send that. I'll add just one more, and I'll add the task. And this one's going to be send a congrats card. And I'll do that 1 month. And the listing agent can be responsible for doing that as well. And I'll save that. So this is going to be my standardization of what I expect. I'll send an SMS today, a gift hamper in a couple of weeks, and I've got a gift card in a month's time. This is what my expectation or standard process will be, so I can keep a consistent quality service for our actual buyers. Now, I'm going to save this, and that is how we create an activity schedule. Now, what we can do afterwards is we can apply this to a property that's just been settled today. And I'm going to go search under properties, the house icon at the bottom of the screen, do an advanced search for my particular settled properties. And I have a property that has settled today, which is Bounty Street. And if I need to apply the set activity schedule, click on the actual listing, go to the circle and the tick. And instead of doing a single task, we're going to apply the activity schedule. And we can select the activity schedule. And we can start as of today. And we can save and proceed. Make sure that it's all given to the listing agent, which is myself, and finish it off. Now, if I go to full view, clicking at the top right-hand corner of the panel, go to activity schedules, I'll be able to see automatically that we've got the standardization of 3 separate tasks that are set for this property moving forward, which is going to save us a lot of time in applying it across multiple listings if needed. Not only that, if I go back to my dashboard, I refresh my pipeline, it's going to show me there's an additional task where I need to send a congrats for purchasing the property. That's how we can create an activity schedule along with how we can actually apply it to one of our listings examples. Another example I'll do is how can we edit an existing activity schedule if our business processes change or we need improvements? We'll go back to the task, which is circle and the tick at the bottom of the screen. I'm going to hit the plus sign. And from here, I'm going to view, edit the activity schedule. I've got one here for the appraisal schedule. I'll do a couple of changes, and I'll start with the first one here with the follow-up call. I may not do the follow-up call at 8:30 in the morning, so I'll put it as 10:30 a.m. and I'll save that. Another thing we can do as well is I can go follow-up call, and agency agreement. So after about a week, I'm expected to send an email, and I've got the email template set up for myself, but I need the documentation that's required. So I can actually attach the document of what I need, which in my case is going to be my agency agreement. And I'll save it now with the agency agreement that's required. And I can also see if I've checked the signed agreement has been returned. And the final part is I need to send an email, but I haven't actually picked the standardized template that we use in our business. So I'm going to pick the template of agency agreement follow-up email template, save that, so I don't have to retype it every time when I'm assigned the task for the day. And I'll save that as well. I can continue with the other two, but generally they're the ones that we're going to be doing at this point. Now that we've done it, we'll actually hit save. If I'm happy with this appraisal schedule and there might be slight variances, we can copy the schedule and make a variant or adjusted one. And we can also print this schedule if needed. But for today, I'm happy with what I've got here. And this will be the standard for my processes moving forward to ensure that I give the most amount of attention to prospective buyers, vendors. So I'll just close that. And how do we apply it? It's going to be similar to what we did with settled property, but I'm going to go to my dashboard and see I have a few appraisals that are outstanding. And if I go into the appraisal listing, I see that I've recently done an appraisal for Hubert Street, Tilapia. I'll just click on that. And just like we did with the settled property, go to the circle and the tick, and we can apply the activity schedule that we just created, which is going to be for the appraised schedule, and save and proceed. It's all going to be appointed to me, all of these tasks, and I'll finish it. Now, if this particular vendor of this particular property has something a little bit unique, and we need to do a specific customization for this specific property, not the business, we're going to go to full view, and we can go to activity schedule. And these are all the tasks that we have. If I click on one of them, I can mark it as complete. Great. But I can also go view current tasks. And we have the flexibility of editing, such as clicking on one of them, and we can change it instead of being due on the 20th. We can make it due the previous day, just to get some changes. We can also mark a task complete from here, or we can reassign a task if it needs to go to someone else. So for example, the photo shoot, I can reassign, and I can give it to Alex as an example, so that he will take care of the photo shoot when it comes to the schedule due to the extraordinary circumstance of this particular appraisal. Once we've done all this, we can close. And if we look on our reminder schedule, we refresh it one more time. We've got additional tasks that are coming through of what's required of us.